Let's move on quickly. Nigeria's current challenges are years of accumulation of poor economic decisions, but with implementation of the right policies, the country can overcome. The governor of Ekiti State, Oyebanji, is taking bold steps to revive agriculture. Governor Oyebanji has insisted that his administration will return the state to the farm settlement era experienced in the old western region under the leadership of the late Obafemi Awolowo. During assessment tours of farm settlements across the state, where 930 youths are involved in the scheme known as Bring Back Youth into Agriculture, the governor promised to construct ultra-modern dormitories at the farms within the next 3 weeks. The scheme will provide land to the young farmers, assist them with land clearing and seedlings, as well as agriculture extension services, among others. Let's share the story of the visit to the farms by Governor Oyebanji with you.
Everything I ensure you are making good money from it. And this kind of business, any qualifier. Amen. Because Tabali irrigates tell you 2 or 3 samples in a year. Talama had a money. That is it. And that is my desire. You know, there do you pay and correct that is yes. Because in continuing to create people no when it comes down, I will do the share.
Iṣẹ́ tẹ́ wá ṣe ń bí ìsà odò alójú gbogbo àwọn ọ̀dọ́ láti aramọ̀kọ èrì o ìpolé ẹ̀rìgéyàn ìpèmẹ̀sí lápéjọpọ̀ síbí láwà ń bí tá à ń ṣiṣẹ́ ń bí.
Àbẹ̀núṣẹ́ mi òwe. Ẹgbẹ́ gbogbo àtàgbàdo. Àbẹ̀núṣẹ́ mi òwe. Àbẹ̀núṣẹ́ mi òwe.
To support you, the president has approved it for me. So, I went to him and he approved. Kari is one of the longest community in Ekiti under this administration. The commissioner will just tell him, Bashimbo, at the award on Ikere is Emure. But you can't share the production chancing. Wọ́n ṣe Àkúrẹ́, Ìtàògbólú, Ìkẹrẹ, Adó. Wọ́n ṣe Ìkẹrẹ, Ìgbàrà Odò. Wọ́n ṣe Ìkẹrẹ, Ìlàrọ̀.
Governor Biodun Oyebanji there. BKO, is this the governor bringing back feeble memories of a sweet past?
Yeah, this is what we are demanded from our governors, because many of the governors are not prepared to venture seriously into agriculture. They want to simply award contracts, provide bridges that are not necessary, where there is no vehicular gridlock, because it's more convenient to do those projects and even make kickbacks and all that. Agriculture is not what many of the governors want to get involved in. But as you can see, this governor is determined to go back to the Awolowo era, when we had farming settlements all over the southwest.
Yeah.
And they also had extension officers whose duty it was to impart knowledge to residents of those farm centers, people living in those farming communities. Odeda, for example, in Ogun State, was a farming settlement that Awolowo created in those days. But we abandoned agriculture. We talked about it here during the week. Those bridges that you see here in Lagos, in some parts of the southwest, Cocoa House, the stadium, Liberty Stadium, the housing estates that you have here in Lagos, the industrial layout that you have in Lagos, they were proceeds of cash crops and taxation. The money that the Western Region government used to put all of those big projects, first of its kind projects together, were proceeds of agriculture and taxation. Nobody was depending on crude oil. But today, because it pleased God to allow us to get crude oil in commercial quantity, everybody abandoned the farm, and we began to focus on crude oil. Now, Mr. President has told governors that they should go back to farming. What this governor has done is unique in a way, because 930 young people they are going to benefit from this. They will set off farming clusters, and they are going to build dormitories for them. They describe the dormitories as ultra-modern dormitories. That means all they will be doing is simply working on their fields. Once they are tired, they go to sleep in their dormitories. They will be focused on agri-production, which will help us achieve food security, and food surplus. That is the goal of Governor Oyebanji, and I'm happy, because if we go on, if we continue to do this, food prices will inevitably come down, because the people living in those areas, they will be able to access farm produce fresh. They don't need to go far, and because in their locality they can access the farm produce, it means that the price will come down. So that is commendable on the part of this governor. He's just focused on trying to do things differently, do some really commendable things. Our farming population is aging. I keep talking about it. We need to make farming conducive for the young people. So that many people that are driving or riding Okada all over the place. In fact, the painful thing now is that our youth have become so lazy that it is now people from the north, people from Benin Republic that are even riding the Okada now. They want to just stand by the roadside and collect money from
raise their hands.
Yes. They don't even want to ride the Okada anymore. I know someone who was an artisan, a tailor. He has given it up. He has given it, he's doing POS now. Whatever little money they make, they switch to POS. They don't want to do anything that is mentally tasking and stressful. No. But farming, there's a lot of reward in farming if people would go into it. Look at, for me, even the little that I've done in my house, you see the tomatoes that I have, just too much. And one day, just these tomatoes, I just did this, just a few beds. So the reward for agriculture is tremendous. We need to encourage our young people to get involved in agriculture. And the way to get them to get involved is to help them tractorize their farmlands, give them high-yield seedlings, support them with funding. Just the little funding that they can use to kick off. We are a blessed country. We have arable land, but we have not cultivated up to 15% of the arable land in our country. It's crazy. I was in Funab the other day. I didn't even know that in this part of the country, you can actually grow carrots. But the harvested carrot in my presence was so fresh, we even ate it. In Funab, in Abeokuta. Now companies are telling them to help them produce, what's it called, poultry products, because they can see that the opportunity is there. Interesting. So kudos to Governor Oyebanji. He has to open these farming clusters in other parts of the state. Apart from Ikere, they should take it to at least 5 other parts of the state. Let the young people be busy. And let's see how much reward we'll get from that.
All right, Dotun. We've always talked about diversification of the economy. We've talked about agriculture and exploring the full potential. But we've found state governors paying lip service to this. But Governor Oyebanji is saying, let's do something differently, with particular focus on young residents of Ekiti State.
There has always been one thing I've been consistent about on this program when it comes to agriculture, and that is the fact that you need this personal touch from the man with the vision that will take us away from portfolio farming and put the money directly in the hands of those who are going to make use of it. And that's what we are saying. On past editions of this program, I've always said it. When you look at those who are doing the real farming that we can see on ground, you'll find out that when you ask them, how do you do it? They don't even have access to any government funding. Those who have access to the funding are the ones who don't have farms. They only farm farmers with their briefcase. Now we can see real direct access to funding now. The model the governor is handling it. In fact, I love what I heard him say in Yoruba, which translates directly to mean, if I had waited in my office, I won't get an accurate report like I'm getting now, because it's on the field. You won't. The politicization of virtually everything that we do in this country is a terrible thing. You have a commissioner for agriculture who cannot move from his office, like the governor has done now, to go and inspect. He sends people out. So he doesn't even know what is happening. He doesn't. So it's good that these portfolio farmers are now going to be stopped in Ekiti in order to achieve the result. And I like the other side of it. If you had him say it, as we are doing this farming, we are also constructing roads that will take your produce out. Because if you do all the farming, you cannot bring a chopper to pick up those things. You cannot have good roads, then it's going to go to waste. there is nothing you can do about it. And he also spoke about all year-round farming.
That's correct.
That is key.
That's correct.
There was a time, some years back, my wife asked me that under Otedola Bridge in Lagos, she sees maize at some time of the year that people don't find it. And I said to her, when you go to the back, you see that it's marshy land. So people plant there all year round. And we have dams. We have more than enough rain that if we can dam it and make it available, people can do all year round farming. And that is what we need. Because we have failed in the area of preservation completely. In other countries, people do preservation. When you farm, you bring it. They keep it where it remains fresh. Anywhere in the UK, in the US, you find fresh corn all year round in the fridges of supermarkets. So it's good for us, even if we don't have a system of preservation.
Right.
Now, because of power, we can do all year round.
DK, what paradigm shift of this kind do we need across Southwest in order to boost food security?
You know, the Southwest has relied too much on the farm produce coming from northern Nigeria. And the governors of the Southwest, I know that they spoke at length about it the other day, that they want to produce what they want to eat what they produce. The dependence on tomatoes, for example, from northern Nigeria makes absolutely no sense because we can grow tomatoes here. Go to Keogun, for example, in Oyo State. There is enough arable land to feed the rest of us in the Southwest. But as I said, people have chosen not to take agriculture seriously just because of the oil boom. We all focus on money from the oil boom. And it was not like that before. And that era was a glorious one for Nigeria because we are in the same category with great countries like Brazil, Singapore, Malaysia, who are ranked at the same level after independence. But the things that worked for us, we simply gave those things up and just focused on money from crude oil. Now you see where we are. We've been paying lip service to the diversification of the economy. Agriculture still remains the number one when it comes to contribution to our GDP. There's no reason in the world for us to not take agriculture seriously anymore. Kenya, for example, their highest income earner, foreign exchange earner, is tea. It's tea. They are among the biggest in the world in tea production, and they focused on it. Look at Cote d'Ivoire, cocoa. We had cocoa. If I remember, my grandmother used to farm cocoa. They would spread it, cocoa and coffee, they would spread it in the yard. Whenever we came home for holiday, we'll see it. Sometimes we even lick it, you know. But today, people have given up. They've even sold pieces of land where we planted those cash crops. It's a shame what we have done to ourselves. Now today, we'll be waiting for them to send tomatoes from northern Nigeria. When you can grow it here. Lagos, we know they don't have sufficient land. But Ogun State or your state, they have no reason in the world.
Lagos has even gone into Ogun to take land.
Because they don't have land. they don't have land. They are collaborating with Ogun. But those who have land, what is their excuse?
All right.
What's their excuse? Look at Israel. Israel had to turn the desert to arable land. And today, Israel is one of the best in agriculture. Israel, Denmark, Holland, they're among the best in agriculture. So we should do our best. We must do our best to stimulate agric production so that we can have surplus to feed our people.
All right. So once again, we say well done to Governor Biodun Oyebanji. All right, so let's move on to our final.